Hello, hello. Welcome back to A Lady Came Today, where we are reading the first edition diary kept by Gertrude for 1891, Alliance, Ohio. In the last video, we read through the entire first 15 days of January, and I just wanted to come back and go over, make a few comments, and point out some things. For instance, we're introduced right away, well, even before that, we noticed that the whistles blew for the new year. And then we're introduced to Zoe, and she states that we got a letter from Bert and John, or from Bert. And then she names the visitors who called and gives the weather. It's pretty much the format that she follows. It's pretty much the format that she follows, normally giving the weather right at the beginning, and then telling us who visited and where she went and what she did. She talks about the DFVs, which would be the Daughters of Veterans, and the KFP, the Knights of, I forget what the P is, Panthea, something. I'll have to get that at a later time. And she also introduces us to Min. And I just wanted to point out, sometimes her uppercase letters are pretty fancy. And it takes a minute to figure out exactly what the letter is, but you can see the outline of the W, the basic outline. So that helps. And then the name Zoe, when I first started reading it, for a long time I was mistaking it for Joe. So I thought she was talking about Joe. But then I finally figured out that's a Z. And her H's are pretty fancy, fancier than I'm used to. So those always throw me. Here she talks about getting her ring from Smith's. And again, the visitors. Oh, and up here she talks about she sewed a little in the morning. She sews a lot, and she goes downtown a lot. Again, the weather, and it's Sunday, so she usually mentions whether she went to church or not. And this day she did, morning and evening. Who she wrote letters to. Washed this morning. Loafed all afternoon. Retired early. Sounds like a great day on January 5th. Here she talks about two different minis. We have a mini T and a mini M. And we'll find out more later on who they are. Here they've gone to, or it doesn't specifically say that they went, but she does name Hibernica, played at Sourbeck's. And this would have been a theater show, a play, probably. And Sourbeck's was apparently a venue at the time in Alliance. And then they had a parade today. And boy, that's a recurring theme. The parades were something. They were happening pretty frequently. Again, she talks about the weather. We have a mention of Pa here. It says he went to Niles. And then a big minstrel parade again and Zoe went to dancing school. Zoe went to dancing school. Tells me that they were not poor people, and the thoroughness with which Gertrude puts the weather and who came and who called and what letters they received tells me that she is somewhat disciplined and consistent and steady. And I think that's a good reflection of who she is so far. A very pleasant day. She sewed at the shop. And that's the first mention of the shop where she sews. Band of the minstrel show paraded. So that's like 3 parades in this first 9 days. And another DFV meeting. Had a big time. And then she names some of the visitors and states that she is sick with a cold. Another weather report. Talking about Beck, which I believe is Becky. And Zoe and I went to the rink. Because Zoe and I were sick of doing work. Sick on doing work. Funny way to put it. Oh, here's the interesting reference to what they had for dinner. They did not go to church this evening. We ate onions and retired early. She mentions eating onions a couple of times for dinner. I was curious as to if that was a full meal. Talking about visitors, and Ribbon Blue played at Sourbeck's tonight. So we have a couple of shows being mentioned already. Oh, and they're making taffy. They seem to like making taffy. Oh, and this one is funny. They had beans and pork for dinner, and the afterclap was awful. You understand what that means, don't you? The afterclap was awful. And then on top of that, they burned the taffy. And they got a letter from Joe. Kind of funny the way she just puts a little tidbit about something. She doesn't elaborate on much. And then got a letter from Joe. So I thought that one was pretty funny. And this is another good one where Mr. Gillespie took dinner at the house. They had an elegant meal. She mentions a death and some visitors and letters. And then, I wish we'd have company often, so we'd have big dinners. And then wrote to Bert. Uncle Tom's cabin band, had a very nice parade. Got a letter from Joe. And then Ma and I was over to Aunt A's tonight. So I just wanted to point out some of those interesting tidbits and welcome you to come back, as we will be having weekly updates, new readings each week. Like and subscribe.